My name is Morayo. I am the founder of Flow, and what we try to do at Flow is to help every child become the best versions of themselves. I'm here today, and I'm happy to be here with BGIS and Just for Women Africa. Thank you so much for having me.
You studied finance. How did you get into the educational sector?
So personal story, like I grew up as a special needs child. And I think for me, I was really good at maths because I couldn't read, but maths was like easy because I didn't have to like read in maths. And um I sort of looked for the best thing to the best thing to study that I felt like I could do. So I went into finance, I went into like investment banking. I just realized that it wasn't for me. So I guess this is also like the back end of flow as well. So I started to research on like what makes me happy, like what success is really about, the intricacy of life. And I just realized that everything I thought I knew about life wasn't what it was. And what struck me the most, I think, and why I started Flow was because the people that have the like most amazing thing to say about life were usually people that were like sick or old. So it's almost like when you clocked life, it was almost like too late, right? So the aim for Flow was now to bring this information to you as a child. So when you have your plain canvas, you can paint the picture that you want, having the right in information from the start. So I guess that's how I sort of transitioned from finance into what I do now.
What gap did you see in Africa's educational system that Flow was designed to fill?
There is a big, massive gap. I think the biggest gap is that the African educational market targets like maths and English a lot. So it doesn't look at the whole picture of a child, right? So it looks at your academics. The best person in class is based on who is best in maths, who is best in what you write down and what you say. But we all know that in the world today is actually how liked you are, the social skills that you have, how resilient you are is actually how far you go. So there is a really big gap in terms of what the world needs and what our school has. And that's the gap that Flow is trying to solve now.
Can you explain how Flow's curriculum helps children develop emotional intelligence and life skills?
So when we started building Flow, our main aim is that we wanted every Flow experience to be one that a child would remember. So we were trying to give them curriculums that they can use in their day-to-day life that can shape them as they move along. So our curriculum is made in the sense that there is a topic that they're working on, such as like, let's say, self awareness. We take this topic that even grown ups don't even understand themselves, and we break it down. It's playful, is in interactive, and the children are able to really express themselves and get to know more about themselves as they go through that course. And at the end of the course, there are objectives that they should have met and they would know, which will now make them more self aware or more whatever the course was supposed to do.
Flow has developed over 30 curricula on emotional intelligence and life skills. Can you share what some of these programs focus on?
So we target children between the ages of 5 and 18 years old. And at every point in a child's life, they need a different type of curriculum. So there's a lot of research that has gone behind the scenes to really understand what sort of topics need to be taught at different points in a child's life. So I would pick one. We call it trans course, and which is basically when a child is moving from primary six to country school. And what we do here is that obviously you're coming from a school where you are the oldest in your class. You are the oldest of the whole school. It's a different experience from primary and school moving to this next stage of your life. And I feel like at that point we've realized that it's very, very important for a child to know self, to know like their values, to know their strengths. So we have a whole trans course that takes them through all the skills that they need to know before they enter into this big world where they're 18 years old, that can can influence the way they think and they feel, right? So we're making sure that as you're entering into year seven, you understand self, you understand your values, you understand who you are. And I always used to say that, like, it's a very dramatic thing I'm about to say, but like, if for example, a bomb comes in here and this place bombs where I am now, the it would never be what was she doing there. Like, it would more or be, it's such a sad thing that that has happened, right? So I feel like it's very important to understand self, be in the right place at the right time, know when to say no, know when to say yes. Peer pressure, there's so much that children go through that we don't really talk about. A lot of times, speaking to people that are older, what you hear a lot is, if only I had known, if only I had understand self, if only I knew my values, if only, if only, if only. So what flow does is that it equips you with everything that you need, that you're able to make the right decisions, know the right things to do when things come your way.
How many schools or students currently use Flow, and what kind of feedback have you received from teachers and parents?
So we are in about 40 schools now, and we have impacted over 12 and thousand kids. Um, Parents, chairs, children, everyone has a different thing to say. Especially, it depends on the experience that they have. But I feel like one thing mom and dads would say is that they know their child more, and things that they have been trying to communicate with their child is able to understand it better now. And even things that they didn't know that was even wrong, not necessarily wrong with the child, but things that was a gap that was missing in the child's life, they're able to identify that and also work with the child. Um, I think schools have had this issue for the longest time, and it's something that is a touchy area. It's something that is hard to explain, hard to express. It's something that you don't want to pick out a child on. So when there's an environment where everyone is thinking the same way, is doing the same thing, we're all able to help each other in that sense. So it's almost like a core community coming together to achieve one goal. And it's not only flu, but it's the fact that we're all together working to achieve this one goal. Yeah.
What has been the biggest challenges in introducing SEL into the African educational space?
I think it's something that has changed over the years. I feel like when I first started in 2020, not started, like, starting to work on it. For the pandemic hit, there was a lack of, do we really need this? What is this about? This is a waste of time. But I feel like 2020 really changed the perspective of a lot of things. And I also feel like more, 2020 also brought a lot more tech, a lot more people being isolated as well. So I feel like it really came in at the right time. So one challenge I had at the first was just, is this really necessary? But we've seen around the world that it is. I think one challenge that I have right now is adaptability with schools, like trying to fit into, because there is a school curriculum already, right? That has been running for years. So where is the time to we get this could be good for us, but where is the time to bring this in, and who's gonna pay? So I feel like those are the two things that if I'm having a challenge with the school, those are the two things that I would see repeatedly going on and on.
How do you navigate resistance from schools or parents who prioritize traditional academics over emotional learning?
I think that is a very interesting question, and I don't think I necessarily navigate that. What we do is that we explain why is important, is it's good, right? And we don't want to sell you something that you don't believe in. So to say. So if you don't believe in it, we'll be like, okay, great. We would go somewhere else, make the end impact clear, come back and show you what it is, and see if it's something that you want to do now. Because at the end of the day, you have to understand what it is that it is to even accept it. So some people might not want it at first, and that's fine. And then we aim to get you on later on when other people have tested and tried and can speak to you. So we really rely a lot on word of mouth, because I feel like that for what we do, that really goes a long way.
What lessons have you learned about scaling an education startup in Africa?
A lot of lessons, a lot of lessons. I think my biggest lesson, I would even say it's a lesson, I feel like it's an observation, is that people in the educational space, and maybe people in a lot of spaces, are not necessarily like passionate about what they're doing or care about what they're doing. And it's hard to work with people that don't necessarily care, right? So I feel like that is just one thing I've observed. So a lesson that I've learned is that it's not, for a lot of people, it's not about the in impact or change, but it's about what is in it for me. How can this benefit my pocket, or how can I, that sort of thing. So I feel like it's very important to understand the mindset of people around you, and how to work on their mindsets to initially get what you want as well.
How do you see the collaboration with Business Growth Initiative for Startup helping Flow achieve its goals?
In many ways, so I have in the past been in a lot of accelerators, a lot. And I think what stands this out for me the most is that it's really an accelerator that didn't just like be like, okay, this is what you need. They sat down, they understood us, and they asked us what did we need. So there are two things that they have done for me. I think that flow is a complex thing to explain, and a lot of people don't know how. Like when I speak about it, a lot of people might not necessarily understand what it is that I'm saying. But the BMGIS team took all the material that I had and put my words into plain terms, and I feel like that has changed a lot. My new deck, my new pitch is so clear that anybody that I'm speaking to understands exactly what I am saying. So I feel like in a way they have changed the way the world sees flow, which I'm really grateful for. Another thing that they have done for us is that on our platform in the past, um, we used to give feedback and write re-import cards for every child in the back end. But the BJS team came in and they've AI integrated that for us. So it's saving us months and months and months of time, which I really appreciate that as well. So those are two things that have been really big for me, really big for the organization, and really big for how well we scale from here.
How do you ensure your content remains culturally relevant and inclusive across different African countries?
So I'm gonna answer that question in another way. So SEL, what we do is growing around the world. Is actually growing. Is I feel like I like to speak about it as the next STEM. Like you know how STEM is everywhere. I feel like SEL is the STEM of the next 5 to 10 years in this space, right? But the way the world sees SEL is not the way the African continent sees it. The topic that are being taught in the world is not what we want. And this top topics that we do are, like I said, is what is going to shape the minds of our child. This way is what is going to determine how they grow up and what they think. So what Flow is doing is that it's taking the SCL curriculum and making it in a way that is right for the African continent that we are in. So it's giving us the right information, the right kind of tools that we want here, and not just picking it from the West and putting it here because not what works in the West doesn't necessarily work here. And what we also try to do is that every child that experiences our course is getting a different thing out of it because it's an experimental course to get you to where you're supposed to be. And everybody is not going to the same place. So we are directing you with the right cultures and values that we want, but you are getting to the destination that was made for you.
Do you plan to expand Flow beyond Nigeria? If so, which countries are next?
Yes, for sure. I feel like Flow for Schools should be in every African country. I'm tired of seeing things from the West come and take over. Like I feel like we're good enough to build for ourselves. So I really want to see Flow in every African country. I can't even just mention five because I want us to be everywhere. Number one. Number two, like I spoke about, the culture and the values that the African con the culture and the values that we're looking for is not the same. So I also really want Flow for the diaspora markets as well. So even though you're away from home, you're able to be connected at the same time.
Okay. So so what advice would you give to parents and educators on raising emotionally intelligent children?
What?
What advice would you give to parents and educators on raising emotional intelligent children? What advice would you give to parents and educators on raising emotional intelligent children?
I'd say that it starts from you. You have to learn it for yourself, I think. And I would say that listen to them. And your a child's brain is 95% formed from when they're 5 years old. So I think it's very important to understand that we learn horizontal and vertically as well. So listen to them, help them, they would help you as well. Learn for yourself and you can give back because you can't give what you don't have. And kids are like sponges. They take what is around them. Like they really do take everything around them. So be the best person for yourself and the rest would follow. Because there is no manual to be a good mom or dad. Like there's actually no manual. There's actually so yeah, I think you just work on yourself and then the rest will go.